Welcome. I appreciate you tuning in. I'm so happy and grateful you're here. This is Molly Reardon, and today we're going to talk about, is he an energy vampire or just clueless? Part 3 in the Energy Vampire series. Now this comes straight from men. A man said that if you go on a date, if he invites you on a date and he wants you to go 50-50, well then he's clueless. So that comes straight from a man. He said that so he's not an energy vampire if he does that. In other words, that's an example of someone that's just clueless. And then there was another gentleman that commented on men, and he said a lot of women fall into the trap of a man telling them she's just a friend. And he said if he's been with her before and he's keeping her as just a friend, he's telling you that, that's not true. So I got that from a man, said that. This isn't coming from me. I listened to men and what they had to say, and they said a lot of women fall for that and don't fall for it because it's so far from the truth. He said if she was at home, this so-called friend, and called him and said, do you want to come cuddle? He said, you bet. He'd be right over there, all over that. So he said, do not fall for, is he a friend to her? Because that's not an energy vampire. That's somebody that's just clueless and thinks that you're going to fall for that because many other women have. Many other women have. So this comes straight from men that are saying this. Another man said, a real man will never let a woman take out the trash. He just won't do that. This comes from a man. This doesn't come from me. And so I thought it would have more meaning for people listening if it's men that are saying these things. So sometimes people think everything's, an energetic vampire. And sometimes it can be both. If you feel really drained after you're with a person, or if you even feel sick, because that's what energetic vampires do. They drain your energy. But some people are just clueless. They weren't raised right. They weren't taught how to be men. Another gentleman said, if a man asks you to move in with him and do 50-50, do not do it. This comes from a man. Again, not from a woman, not from me. These answers are all coming from men. He said, if he gets into trouble, he's going to expect you to fix it. And 9 times out of 10, he's going to dispose of you. So all these tips are coming from men saying they're clueless, they weren't raised right, maybe they didn't have a father figure that was treating their mother right. But real men, and this is coming from men now, don't do any of these things. So this has nothing to do with being an energy vampire. In these days, everybody is kind of like painting a broad brush and just saying everything is an energy vampire. Well, could it be both at times? Yes. If you're feeling really drained and manipulated and controlled, it could be both. But sometimes they're just clueless. They weren't taught right, or maybe they have an alcohol or a drug problem, so they're not going to care about you at all. If they're in addiction and they're not treated, no, they're not capable. So if that's the case, go to Al-Anon, go to Nar-Anon, or they're just going to have a party with you, manipulating you, taking advantage of you. So if you go on a date and he asks to do 50-50, he's clueless. If you're on Facebook and he tries to pick up one of your friends or your family, he's clueless. Get rid of him. If he makes any kind of racist remarks when you're out. He is not an energy vampire. We're being nice saying the word clueless, okay? Because we want to be able to put this on YouTube, and they won't let it through if I use the word that I'd like to use. But if he abuses the server, this comes from me because I used to be a server, I'm going to say he's clueless. I wouldn't date him again because that shows how he's going to treat people that are in a vulnerable position. And when you have a man and you get into a relationship and you get married, there may be times that you're vulnerable. So he's showing you how he's treating a vulnerable server. How's he going to treat you if you have a vulnerable moment in the relationship? If you're pregnant, if you're a pregnancy, I had twins. There was times when I could not go food shopping. When I needed help, I was vulnerable. So you don't want someone that's going to abuse you when you're vulnerable. And if he abuses the server, he's going to abuse you. If they don't even know you and you don't even ask for it and they send you naked pictures, he's clueless. If he tries to make you jealous, he's clueless. Okay? So a lot of this information came from men. Now, if he ghosts you, he's telling you, I don't respect you enough to man up and sit down over a cup of coffee and tell you, this isn't why it's working, A, B, and C. If he ghosts you, he's telling you straight up, with his actions, I do not respect you. So this man is clueless about respecting a woman. You don't want to be in a relationship with somebody like that. And if you don't respect yourself, you're going to keep going back. But if you do respect yourself, you're going to say, oh, okay, he's just shown me that he doesn't have the respect to face, and he's a coward to boot, because he didn't even sit with you face to face and say, you know, I respect you enough to sit down and have a conversation and end this like a man. Okay? He's not going to spend 5 seconds thinking about you when he ghosts you. A lot of people are like, oh, is he thinking about me? No, he's not. He ghosted you. He's moved on to the next one. So a lot of people don't realize what respect is because perhaps they never learned what respect was from their parents. That is blatant disrespect when they ghost you. They don't think much of you at all. Because if they did respect you and think highly of you, they would sit down like an adult does with another adult and have a conversation and say, I thought enough of you to get with you in the beginning. You know, be classy about it. But usually the people that do this have probably never taken you out to dinner, never sat down out somewhere for coffee, if you think about it. 9 times out of 10, they've already shown you that you're not worthy of the time to plan a date. You're the McDonald's drive-thru for them. They don't have to dress up. They don't have to put cologne on. They can just stop by. So why would they do that? Because you've allowed them not to. I don't mean to be, this is not all of you. If this resonates with you, take it. If it doesn't, leave it. But today we're going over, is he an energy vampire or just clueless? So all these people, they don't know how to be a man. They're clueless. There's another word that I like to use for them, but for the sake of getting this on YouTube, we're not going to use that word today. So try to think more of yourself. If this has happened to you and you didn't realize that you weren't respecting yourself, because when we don't respect ourselves, no one's going to respect us. Okay? Now, have there been times when perhaps someone's ghosted me and I've gone back? Yes. And that means I had to work on my self-respect. Okay? When our outsides project what our insides are like, what we accept is we have to change something inside of ourselves that's accepting that. I hope this was helpful. Much love to you, and thank you.